All good gardens must come to an end. We planted these in the fall, and there is a very cold night coming up. I mean, cold for us. Everybody, you know, gets on our case here. Where I am, it's 2 degrees Kelvin. But no, I'm gonna have a night in the low 20s, which means that I'm likely to lose a lot of these cabbages. It's going back and forth between the 70s and then down real low. That really takes them out. And we're getting rot on some of these leaves, the top of some of the cabbage heads from the last frost we had, which was in the mid-20s. So I know if we're going a few degrees lower than that, I'm likely to just end up with rotten cabbage heads like this one. And that's no good. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna harvest these out of here, and then I'm gonna try and build a little bit of humus in these row gardens. And I'm gonna use the magic to do that, because it's obviously impossible to build humus in soil that's this poor. So we have to use sorcery. I'm just kidding, I'm not gonna use sorcery, because in the coming purges, that will get you burned. But I use something that feels a lot like magic, and that is God's design of humus. We don't exactly create a lot of our humus right here in the garden. If you saw my recent video, Composting Secrets from a Humus Junkie, you saw how we use the chickens to make a lot of humus. And I've been thinking about these row gardens and how we can cycle things through them, including humus. We have a lot of scrap material here from these that could get fed to chickens and then turned into manure and compost and put right back into this area. And so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna build up for spring with the remnants of what is coming out from fall. Look at these cute little cabbage heads. Organically grown, free range, fair trade, sustainably harvested.
Here we grow, harvesting our cabbages. Like a game, grab the stack at the Babbages. Once you start, you know you just can't stop. Through the roof, to the moon like GameStop. Cabbages are fresh and they stay on beat. Keep your head in the game, you got to watch for the heat. And the slugs will shoot the rapid leaves right through. So peel up the damage so it looks brand new. Ooh, it's cool, you know you make wide rows. Then into the fresh furrows you sow your seed. Just sprinkle it and cover it like water it in so it soaks. Alright, a few days later, up come the sprouts. Yeah. Let them grow a bit and then you pin them out. And then you feed what you got and you water well. Triple 13, nah, I won't tell. Every little cabbage just wants to get ahead with the tricky little genes and tie the bread. You know, instead of getting loose like the custom kale, yeah, they're rounding up tight and they're fitting in your bed. So give for yo, you know we give for shout. Cause there ain't nothing better than your homegrown sauerkraut. Call your ma, you know, and call your pa. Cause there ain't nothing like that homegrown coleslaw.
Who wants cabbages? Who wants cabbages? So all I gotta do is cycle nutrients through the chickens and then throw them back down the garden beds. Now, I'm sure somebody would say, well, why don't you just put a chicken tractor through here? That's possible. I just don't have a good light chicken tractor design that's also predator proof that I can work through the beds yet. That's one solution. But like I like to tell people, there are many possible solutions that you can use in the garden. Many different tools, don't get hung up on one system. Chicken tractor's a great idea. Grazing cows through here, you know, great idea. I could close the goats in over this area, great idea. Maybe. But what I found is really easy is having a stationary chicken run that we can sift out of and then integrate what we're feeding to them into here again, cycling it through. We just send the cabbages through the chickens and make something richer, build that humus, sift it out. This actually got rained on, so it's a little sloppy, but it doesn't matter. It's beautiful. Obviously, chickens aren't the only way to recycle materials through. I could probably have taken those cabbage leaves over here to my neighbor's cows and then gone and got the manure, but it's kind of, you have to have a larger scale to deal with cows. And so what I do is I come over here and we just pick up the pats anytime we want to. We scrape them off the ground and throw them into a wheelbarrow. And that is like really concentrated, excellent soil fertility. But you can't do this in a lot of places anymore because of the problem of herbicides, like Grazon. I hate that stuff. It's evil. Like, I generally don't believe in government intervention, but it should be absolutely illegal to use something on hay fields and on grass, etc. You know, that's going to murder people's gardens downstream. There's really no great way to use it, and it's infected a lot of the manure supply, the compost supply, the hay supply, etc., so on and so forth, and gardeners are getting hit by it all the time. Scott Head, Charles Dowding, I got a load of it once and it messed up my gardens one year. It's nasty. But I know that over here they don't spray anything because I've been reliably informed that the farmer who owns the cows is way too cheap to spend money on chemicals. And so he does things the traditional way, and often the traditional way is the best way. This ground gets manure on it, it grows beautiful grass. Occasionally they take the cattle and move them to another spot, and then they'll hay this area, and they'll move them to the other spot, and then they'll hay that area. And that rotation allows everything to come back, and there's that cycling of nutrients. So on a small scale, you might not be able to do that with a cow. You might not have space for a cow. You want to come to my yard and work in the garden? But in your backyard, you can do something similar with chickens or rabbits or other small animals that you can use to give the soil its manurial rights, as Sir Albert Howard said it. So I hope that's kind of inspiring to you, the idea of pulling out a harvest. Hey, it's gonna freeze, we're gonna lose it, but we're not gonna lose all of it, so we're gonna take what we can, and then the rest of it gets recycled into humus. And then we have this constant fertility cycle going on. And then we're gonna get another harvest come the spring, because in just a month or so, I'm gonna be planting potatoes. And of course, you're invited to join me as I plant potatoes right through where we just pulled the cabbages out. And it'll be a lot of fun. Catch y'all next time. Check out my book, Compost Everything, The Good Guide to Extreme Composting. If you don't have it, I think you'll enjoy it. And until I see you again, may your thumbs always be green.